So guys, my name's Nate, 23 years old.
What's up, I'm Milan, 23 years old.
We are the co-founders of TrueHorizon, and we're here in LA. We're speaking at an AI and efficiency workshop with just a bunch of business owners. So it's pretty cool because we were definitely the youngest ones in the room. But yeah, we had some good stuff to share, and it was really cool to see that it was very eye-opening for them, even though they've been business owners for a long time. So
yeah, hopefully share some AI sauce, make everyone some more money.
I was saying that this paradigm shift that we're in right now is not only the biggest paradigm shift that we will see in our generation, but also the biggest paradigm shift that our parents are going to see, and if our grandparents are alive, that they're going to see.
Anyone, if you have a laptop and an internet connection, you have access to this technology. So the same thing that governments are using to modernize their processes is the same thing that a line cook in Kentucky can use to build his own automations and go sell that to the world. We've been in business for 8 months, but if you annualize our revenue, it's just over 2.5 million, projected to continue growing over the next few months. And so all that is not to brag, it's just to show that really things can change really fast. Just keep working, keep believing, and yeah. A little bit of backstory is I spun up a data startup when I was in college. We landed a couple AI automation clients, but we're really kind of struggling with leads. But we had sales and delivery kind of on lock. And then reached out to Nate in December because I saw his channel, saw he was crushing it with N8N. We were using N8N, learned a lot from his videos. I was how to deliver better, and then reached out to Nate in early December on LinkedIn.
Nate, do you hop on sales calls now or not anymore?
No, not anymore.
No? Okay.
Not anymore.
Cool. Did you enjoy doing that at all or not?
Honestly, I did.
Yeah?
Because I learned a lot. Because hopping into the discovery calls with, first of all, never really talking to business owners, and not approaching it from the old narrative of a pushy car salesman. I think I don't know, you may disagree here, but I think the game of sales is changing. It's way more, especially in the space we are, where we're not really looking for risk-averse clients. They're almost kind of experimenting with AI. If you have a client, it's hey, I need your help to save my business. It's no, I'm not trying to work with that.
Yeah.
You want to work with someone where it's we're already doing well, and we want to use AI and use your guys' expertise to help us get ahead and stay ahead. I don't know. I put out a lot of videos recently where it's trying to turn that formula into what they think of, which is money, time, and focus. And it's playing this game of, I need to be technical enough so they know I'm technical and they know I'm an expert. But if you're too technical, then it's you just lose them, Mm-hmm. So it's a game though. It's a game though. And I know that closing a sale is a nice rush. I never got that rush of let's go. Obviously it was exciting, but I think it's a type of energy and mindset that takes for a sales guy,
Yeah. Oh, it's a high of highs.
Yeah.
Closing a deal for me at least, dude, it's it's honestly a high of highs.
Nothing better?
Yeah.
Besides being on a boat on a sunny day.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But I did enjoy it though.
Yeah.
I think it was the best move for our business to phase me out of that piece. But I think early on, it was huge for us. We went on this crazy run. I think we took 11 discovery and sales calls together, and we closed all 11, our first 11.
Yeah.
And that was just a crazy run. I mean, we were moving way too fast. We got ahead of ourselves.
Yeah. Probably charging too less.
Yeah.
But.
Yep. Not charging enough, underscoping, and then just taking on way too many before we knew our processes. But it was cool. We learned a lot.
Having this guy on sales calls is also just crazy because he genuinely has a celebrity effect. So we'd hop on the calls and these guys are awestruck. They're just ready to throw money in our face.
Yeah, they'd be like, your background's the same. I was yeah, I'm in my bedroom.
Dude, 11 closes on 11 calls is crazy.
Oh yeah, dude.
Is that just not? Was that the first maybe moment where you guys were working together and you're okay, this is really working, in for sure. I don't know. That's what.
I mean, we had really good immediate chemistry, the way we approached the calls, and same with Tyler. The three of us fit together really nice. Yeah. But also a huge signal for us that we were way undercharging. Yeah. Because all of those 11 were this is a steal, essentially.
Yeah. And we had that. So those are all the first deals we closed together. The highest one was around just under 20K. The lowest one was 4K across those 11 deals. Probably all of them except the 20K one we could have charged 2 to 3x, probably more. knowing what we know now.
Yeah.
My first YouTube video was in 4 days a year ago today.
Wow.
So it's been almost a year. But no, I mean, lots of stuff has changed. I'd say just the feeling of actually being able to like make a difference in an organization or like a person's life is a big deal, because actually I've told them, but like basically like why I decided to quit my job. Like I was starting to get momentum a little bit on YouTube and like doing some freelance gigs, but I delivered this project at work. So I worked in automation and I delivered this workflow and it saved like 20 minutes a day. So nothing crazy, but like for a first project at work, I was proud of it. And I got like no like acknowledgement from the team. Someone said, "Great job, Arthur," which is not my name. And so the next day I was like, okay, I put in my 2 weeks. So now it just feels good to like do something and see it directly affect the company. Even if I make a mistake and the company, like something happens or, you know, whatever it is, like even if something bad happens and that's on me, it's nice to feel like I do have that control. But no, I mean, that's probably the way it's changed the most, I think. And it's only been a year too. Crazy.
What about you, Milan?
Well, you know, a year ago today, or you said in 4 days, right? That was your first video. For me, I had just wrapped up a startup accelerator actually, and my business was failing. So I had just taken a job at like, it's like the most like corporate, like clock in at 8:59 a.m., clock out at 5:01 p.m. on the dot. You get 1 hour lunch. Just like the most like, you know, it's just useless like bullshit work that like no one in the company is passionate about. And I just started that job. So I was in like crazy different headspace because I had like a lot of big goals to like try to get my startup like off the ground that summer, and didn't like hit that goal. So, but then yeah, I mean basically I was 2 weeks. I was like just like in that job, like what do I do? And then it's like, I mean, there's only one thing to do, just grind, you know, kind of grind my way out of there. So, yeah, I mean, it's just been a crazy ride. Like, it's crazy how fast things can change if you just like put pedal to the metal. So, yeah.
Hello, I got places to be. Pretty brown, got me weak in the knees. Slow up, you hold me down, I'm readjusting my speed. I've been gone too long.
Cultivate a culture like an
It's so good. I actually think because every weekend that we've had it,
I'd be curious to get your thoughts on
sold
that.
out. So I think we're
Because
actually talking
I
about
feel like
having
we're a pretty strong culture, but Nate's
if you're in the mood
founder
for,
of 2 online
fish,
businesses.
the new miso glazed.
So I'd be curious to hear what you do for AIS.
Yeah.
Also.
And you know what's interesting about
My go-to
AIS
has always
is
been our scallops.
we don't
Years I've been here. And then we
have
put
like
that
an all
miso
hands,
black
a weekly
hot
all
on
hands
it,
where
kinda
all of us are on the call.
just
I think that's
pumped it out of
extremely
top
powerful.
contention. Take your
Um,
time. I get pretty
But the way that we're building a culture
it
in the
could, 'cause
community
there's a little
is just
sweetness
like
on the miso glaze,
just the
but I'd
idea of
probably
like
say like a
all
solid
ideas
6
will float to the top. Like everyone is in a position to make a change, but there still has to be structure to it. Like there has to be a chain of command, there has to be a flow of like, you know, communication, and there has to be rules. I think that the TrueHorizon culture, like that's pretty much all Milan. Like he's building a culture there because he leads the all hands. He's very accessible, and I think that's a huge thing. Is like everyone knows like who they roll up to, but still being able to voice things and share feedback. And by just asking people like, how would you feel if we did this, or what do you guys think about this? And that doesn't mean that they have like the power to make that decision, but that tells you their opinion of the company, because they can either say, hey, I think that's a bad idea for these reasons, or I'm really excited about this, I think that's going to grow the business, or they can say like, I don't really know, that's not my area of expertise, or they say, I don't care, that's not my job. And you can really get a good idea on like how they feel, and also that makes them value you a lot, because it's like, wow, Milan asked me for my advice. I love that. I want to stay around at this company. Like they value me. So but yeah, no, I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I think I think first of all that's like pretty incredible to hear you say that. Like you know, the cultures, you know, because for me I think like the culture really is like it's everyone. You know, and like I do lead the all hands thing. I make a presentation, but it's really a function of the people in the business, because we have such a. I mean, all the founders are 23 years old, right? But like a lot of our clients are enterprise clients. They're in their 50s, 60s. So there's a certain way that you carry yourself in front of a client, in front of an investor, in front of a partner. And then we're on our all hands sync just shooting the shit, you know, like how you would just chop it up with your boys. And then like, you know, turn around, hop on a client, you know, button it up and, you know, turn on the PG filter. So like it's a really interesting balance. I think I learned a lot from this guy Nate's referencing, Tony Hinchcliffe, really successful entrepreneur. We just met him, runs like a massive multinational structural engineering company, does like disaster relief. And yeah, what he said about how culture is defined not by like, you know, a framework or rules, but by the decisions you make and how you make them. I think that really is something I'm going to take and run with.
What do you think is more important in business right now? Like social capital or financial capital? So social being, I mean, something like a YouTube channel and getting that growth and exposure through eyes and viewership rather than like getting an investor from a check, you know, getting a check from an investor, something like that, to then help your business scale.
Yeah. I think I would say social capital, because financial capital almost always follows social capital, and the vice versa is not always true. It can be, but there's a ton of founders, some of whom are our competitors, who go out and just raise money without like a really clear action plan. And I think social capital 100% of the time will lead to financial capital.
Yeah, I mean that's the moat. That's the moat. You could have thousands of people doing the exact same thing, which ultimately, that's the case for us. I would say that we deliver higher quality, but still, like 1,000 people could sell the exact same product. But you know, if you've got a famous person pushing it, that's the moat. It's just going to sell, and it also makes it easier to sell. And it's anyone can get money really, but you've got money. What are your options to like sell? I mean, like ads. You can run ads, and you run ads. You get people to come in through the ads, and they still don't know you. They still don't know your face. You still have to like really convince them to trust you. And we don't have to run any ads, and they come in and they trust us. It's just like, it's so powerful.
I think a prime example of this is Cluely, Roy Lee's company. He's the guy that was famous for getting kicked out of Colombia for cheating. He raised $15 million for Cluely. I think they did a couple rounds. Him and his co-founder Neil. I think they did. I think he did a couple of investing rounds. I think in total their post money was like 15 mil. And since then, we have seen almost nothing about their product in terms of the content they push out. All we see is them doing some crazy viral TikTok, Instagram reel. Dude, these guys just raised 15 million. 15 million because of their distribution. And that's all social capital. And we haven't seen, hey, I just closed this enterprise deal and it's giving me 5 million ARR. Maybe they are, maybe they're just not publishing about it. But it's very clear that the 15 million they raised, they're doubling down on social capital. And he talks a lot about the power of distribution and how right now, content creators are underrepresented. Meaning there's a massive amount of people who are scrolling, and there's not a lot of people who are actually making content. So I think social capital, like right now, as at the time of this, is like the thing to double down on.
So
On N8N, I see this. On my third-party software, I see this, and they don't match up. And those are like really tough, and those are the most annoying ones because how do you look in between those two? Like it's very tough to. And that's where I think being like maybe an actual like formal software engineer, you'd be able to understand that a little better. But then the other two that are more within N8N, there's like aggregating, merging, and like splitting. That can be tough because like, if you've got 3 items flowing through, that's gonna be 3 separate executions, like in the one execution itself. Or if you need to bring all that back together and be processed at the same time. And then the other one is the issue of like using a set node to have data be like more dynamic. Because like, with human in the loop, if you use the $JSON, it means that you're referencing something that was immediately beforehand rather than like a set node. And then you also have the issue of like, what if the output of this node is dynamic? And how do you run it through something where it's standardized? For example, like with what happened at the Agentic Arena, there was like, thankfully they didn't show it in the premiere, but like in person it was messed up. So I had Claude Opus 4 running and I had thinking turned on. And so when you have thinking turned on, That doesn't mean it's gonna think every time. That means if I need to, I'm gonna think. And when the model thinks, you know, like when you have an AI agent, it outputs JSON.output. But if it thinks, it outputs like JSON.thinking.output1. And so I mapped it to the evaluation as output or thinking. And so like sometimes I got zeros because it just wasn't mapped correctly because the output was so dynamic. And I was not happy, but
What even happened? I didn't watch the rest of the video. Did you end up
For the vanity, they cut that whole part out,
Yeah, thank goodness.
and then there was like a little like offshoot part where like we fixed the workflow, or like, you know, the main like referee came and fixed the workflow, and well, it's not even a fix. It's really just
he just mapped.
yeah, it just mapped it exactly like what Nate just said. Just basically just mapped it to the output, and then we were getting scores. So
And it was dynamic and messed up.
yeah.
And I also felt really bad because Jack like didn't even like really finish his workflow. So it wasn't very clear in the video, but he he had the input feeding into just a blank LLM. There was like no knowledge or prompting. It was just a blank LLM. And the LLM was just getting it right.
Yeah.
So he got 16 points off just literally just like a blank LLM.
Blank LLM.
Crazy.
And so at this point I was like, oh my god, I'm screwed.
But dude, you know what's the best part, dude? There was the time where they asked Jack, or they asked so Jack was basically fucked, right? Like he was just plugged in this blank LLM. And the referee asked Nate, he was like, hey, are you okay if we give Jack like a couple extra minutes?
Well, no, he said 60 seconds. He said
60 seconds. And Nate was like stone cold face, like he was like, nah. He just denied it, bro, straight up. I was like,
I mean, in my mind, what could I do in 60 seconds? Nothing. There's nothing I could have changed in 60 seconds
yeah.
at that point.
So we were all like, there was folks in the audience that were like big fans of Nate, you know, but they never like talked to him. They were like, wow, dude, like I didn't expect Nate to be that cold-blooded.
My game face was definitely on.
Yeah, dude, 100%.
Okay, so just to like walk through the journey of how we got started and like what it's looked like so far in the past essentially a year. When I quit my job in November, I quit because my YouTube channel, it wasn't big, you know, that's the power of social media, where I had maybe 3,000 subscribers, but I was getting like multiple emails a week just for like freelance projects. So I started doing that for a while. I actually was working as a developer for a different AI agency. You guys probably know the YouTuber, I won't name drop right now, but I was working for a different YouTuber for his AI agency.
He's our boy though,
He's our boy, yeah, we love him. And I was working as a dev. And the reason I did that was because I had no idea how to handle contracts. I didn't want to close sales. I didn't want to deal with like the LLC formation, business bank account, all that kind of stuff. So I just started as a dev just to like prove that I could build N8N workflows that provided value to businesses. And then what happened was my channel just got bigger and bigger, and I realized I'm really cutting myself short here if I keep working as a dev. So then I decided to just like tackle it myself. And it worked for a while. I was doing like the one-person agency where I was doing the entire process from sales to delivering and fulfilling myself. Then I started to bring on a few devs, but like never in like a really systematized like formal capacity. It was more so like, hey, I've got this project, I'll pay you this much, can you do it? And then potentially they were just waiting on the bench for more. But then when Milan and Tyler reached out in December, so like only a month later, which is crazy, a lot happened that month. It felt like a natural fit. We decided to work together. I would definitely encourage, like, you need partners. You can't just go through it yourself. I mean, you can, but you need someone to bounce ideas off of, just like go through the stresses together. And it was a wild ride. As soon as we started working together, I think we touched on it earlier, like we closed our first 11 deals, which was awesome, but then lots happened. So basically in January, we officially formed TrueHorizon, 3 co-founders, 3 equal partners. And in January, we signed about $6,500 of revenue. In February, it was $58,000 in revenue. And at that point, we were like, okay, now we have like these 10, 11 clients, and it's way more than we can handle. And we underpriced. So like losing money, drowning in work. April comes, we signed like what, 13K? 13K in revenue. And then we said officially like we're closing the doors. There's just no reason for us to be working with any more clients until we figure our stuff out. So, you know, April we signed nothing. March was 13K, April was nothing.
Yep.
And then we decided we needed to like figure it out and start to hire and build systems.
Yeah. So we were basically getting destroyed by those deals that we closed. And so we took all the learnings from those like 11, 12 deals. We shipped on them. Some of them totally burned us. We had to chew a bunch of glass. Some of them were really successful, partners that we re-signed, customers that we have case studies for. And then so at that point in time, we basically took all of our failures and all of our learnings and created what we now call the AI partner model, which is a brand new way of running an AI agency. Instead of acting as a traditional agency, you come on as a full-on holistic AI strategy partner for that business. And then we basically just went crazy. That next month, we signed a $250,000 deal. The month after that, we closed a $25K per month client, which has since grown even more. The month after that, we signed an extremely large enterprise client, and since then have multiple more in the pipeline. And now we have done, we've been in business for 8 months, but if you annualize our revenue, it's just over 2.5 million, projected to continue growing over the next few months. And so all that is not to brag, it's just to show that really like things can change really fast. Just you know, keep working, keep believing, and yeah.
All right, so what I was saying that this paradigm shift that we're in right now is not only the biggest paradigm shift that we will see in our generation, but also the biggest paradigm shift that our parents are gonna see, and if our grandparents are alive, that they're gonna see. And the cool thing about it is, like, when you think about the biggest technological advancements that actually applied to all businesses, meaning, you know, the dot-com boom, every business needs a website. If a business today doesn't have a website, they're gone. They're in the dust. SMMA, every business needs marketing.
Yep.
Dropshipping, not really every business, but automation, AI in some form, every business will need that. So it's literally applicable to everything. You know, like, you have your areas you're looking for, your specific niche because you have expertise, or you know people, or because you're targeting a certain ticket size. But ultimately, every single business you could name needs automation in some form, or AI automation in some form. So the opportunity is huge. The market is insanely blue, and you don't have to have any sort of like formal engineering or coding background to actually make a difference, like, quick. Especially with what he was just saying about how much better this stuff is getting every day. So I don't know, I'm very grateful that we were born when we were born.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't want to be born in any other decade.
I agree. I think it's one of the best times to be alive. I think it's one of the best times to be young. I also think that this shift, like, you know, you mentioned some of the other technological booms, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think a fundamental difference in AI is that for the first time, a technology boom is in the hands of the consumer and not in the hands of the government or a massive enterprise, right? If you look at like electricity or internet or even cloud, like the first adopters, it's not your average Joe, right? It's not just your average person who's like in a 9-to-5 or is like a shift worker somewhere. It was the government, it was a super rich corporation that needed the money to adopt something like this. But AI is a fundamental paradigm shift because anyone, if you have a laptop and an internet connection, you have access to this technology. So the same thing that governments are using to modernize their processes is the same thing that a line cook in Kentucky can use to build his own automations and go sell that to the world. And so I think that's a fundamental paradigm shift, and I think the innovation we're going to see as a result of that is something that I'm personally extremely excited for.
Yeah. And we talked a lot about social capital tonight. I don't think there's ever been a moment or a time where you could legitimately put like not a ton of effort into a piece of content and it will reach exactly who you're trying to reach. We were just talking about this actually at the workshop too. Like, when you compare ads that do well right now, it is ads that are raw, minimal editing, and just a human, rather than ones that are highly hyper edited with like production quality, studio grade filming and microphones. It's just raw human connection. And like I said, because of the algorithm being so advanced, you can talk about whatever you want and have some sort of offer, and the algorithm will read the transcript, understand what you're trying to talk about, and put it in front of people that's like their exact interest. So there's just like that opportunity, I think, is going away. Milan talked about the difference right now between the supply and demand, that gap of creators. It's just like there's just so many pieces that are all lining up, and they don't line up You know, like you've got your eclipse every however many years. It happens like rarely, and you have to jump on it. You have to get outside and look at the moon while it's happening. Otherwise, you're gonna miss it, and you gotta wait a while again.
Yeah, it's truly never been easier to win right now than it is right now. It's never been easier to win. There's never gonna be like this many businesses that don't know what to do about AI. Like AI education is expanding every day. At the same time, it's also never been easier to just do nothing, sit on your ass and scroll for hours or whatever it is that, like, you know, young folks do. So yeah, I mean, just lock in. I feel like it's
That's what they call opportunity cost. Economic.